Greetings, CYC board. This is Kevin Mulm. Your officer team met last night and decided a few things that I wanted to share with you in this brief video. First, small groups. Each one of you will be assigned to a small group of young people, anywhere from about 5 to 7 people from across the Diocese of Helena. Each small group has 2 officers on it, and the goal of the small group, this is where we will be doing our discussion, reflection, sharing, Bible studies, things like that is going to happen in the small groups. The hope is that the small group would meet 2 to 3 times a month or about every other week. Of course, we will be meeting virtually, and your officers will be contacting you shortly to set up a time that works for everyone in your small group to meet up. Prayer trios. Each of you has been assigned to a prayer trio. The idea behind these prayer trios is to create Christ-centered friendships among young people. Each of you, the CYC board officers, grouped everyone, and they tried to keep people from the same town, or at least the same deanery, together in a prayer trio in the hopes that you might be able to meet in person at some point throughout this year. But our goal or our intent is that you would meet regularly, maybe 3 or 4 times a month, virtually or in person according to your own circumstances and your own location, to meet and pray with one another. That's really it. Doesn't have to be super complicated, but we're just trying to build friendships among each other where we can lift one another up and hold each other in prayer. The officers decided how we're going to discern our theme for this year. It's really important to know that the theme is God's message that he wants to share with his young people this year. That will drive all of our programs, initiatives, and work of CYC board this year. So how are we going to do that? Each small group will meet sometime between now and September 7th to discern 1 or 2 ideas. Then the officers in each small group will bring those ideas back to the officer group, who will then work through those themes to find and discern God's message for this year. So that's how it'll work. Each small group, 1 or 2 ideas. You bring that back to the large group. Our scripture inspiration this year will be the Gospel of Mark's account of the passion and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Our CYC board convention this year is scheduled for Palm Sunday, and we like to use the readings from that weekend as sort of our inspiration for our theme. So that's what we'll be using, the Gospel of Mark's account of the resurrection and passion of Jesus Christ. Your CYC board officer in your small group will be contacting you shortly to find a time for your small group to meet sometime between now and September 7th. Last night, our officers decided how our leadership structure is going to work this year. So last week, we all met on Sunday to discern 2 CYC board officers per deanery, whose primary role will be a liaison between the diocese and that local deanery level. So we are going to discern 3 primary roles or officers among those 12. 1 will be the president, 1 will be the vice president of communications, the other will be the vice president of marketing. The president is the servant of servers. Their primary role is to be the advocate and sort of the voice of young people at the diocesan level. The vice president of communication is primarily responsible for communicating among those young people who are already actively engaged in youth ministry in our diocese. The vice president of marketing is primarily responsible for reaching out to those who are not yet engaged in youth ministry. So we will be discerning those 3 roles at our next officers meeting on Tuesday, September 8th. That's what was decided last night at our officer meeting. Again, any young person on the CYC board is welcome to participate on our CYC board officer meetings. Our next one is scheduled for Tuesday, September 8th at 8 p.m. Until then, please pray for me, pray for our bishop, and together we will pray for our young people as we continue on our mission to share the saving gospel of Jesus Christ with all young people in our diocese. God bless.